All right, I am recording. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Avanti Entrepreneur Podcast. I am Dave Mamano, your host, and I gather us here once a week, every Wednesday morning for almost 4 years now, every week, believe it or not, to surround myself and you, our Avanti listener, our Avanti family, to surround you with just who I feel are really cutting edge entrepreneurs, people that laid it all on the line and did whatever it took to get that flywheel of entrepreneurship going and continue to ride the roller coaster. It never ends. And today I have on the show somebody who put it all on the table and has had phenomenal success in a very short amount of time. I'm going to welcome to the show Jeff Knauss. Jeff, welcome to the show.
David, thank you for having me.
We got you here today from the lovely town of Skaneateles, New York. It's not Skaneatles or Skanatles, or it is Skaneateles, which is a beautiful part of upstate New York. Gorgeous lake, very pristine. One of the, if not the nicest village and towns on a lake in upstate New York. And it's been visited by dignitaries and politicians and actors and actresses, and you just happen to have a residence there. So congratulations.
I don't know how they let me in, but it is a great place to live. We actually moved here in November and got settled right before quarantine. So I told my wife, I got 2 young kids. I said, gosh, no better place to get quarantined than here in a new home. So we feel pretty fortunate for that.
Yeah. Are you right on the lake?
We got a nice long lake view where we got about 7.5 acres that oversee the lake. It's a gorgeous view. Maybe by the end of this, I'll give you a peek. I'm looking.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, for those of us watching. So Jeff, I'm going to read your bio and we're going to dig into your story. So Jeff Knauss is the CEO and founder. I'll say co-founder. You're very sharing of the credit. I love that. Of Digital Hyve. Digital Hyve is a full-service digital marketing agency with offices in Syracuse and Rochester, New York, with 55 full-time employees. I don't know if is it 56 or 57 since I printed this out, the way you're growing?
I have honestly no idea. It's very hard to keep track, but I know that we've hired 4 people in the last 3 weeks. So
yeah, so it might be 59. So in 2018, Digital Hyve was named 52nd fastest growing private company in the United States by Inc. magazine in their annual Inc. 5000 edition. And they were also named to the 5th fastest growing marketing and advertising companies in the nation. Entrepreneur magazine also listed you as one of the top 360 best entrepreneurial companies in America. In 2019, Digital Hyve was listed as a success story on Facebook. You're named one of the first 51 Facebook marketing preferred partners in the country when they created the program in June of 2019. You also have a very deep relationship with Google. Digital Hyve was one of the first agencies in North America to be invited into the Google Elevator program, a business accelerator developed by Google for the fastest growing agencies. In 2020, this year, Digital Hyve was named the 98th fastest growing company in the United States by Financial Times and Statista, alongside companies like Netflix and PayPal and Uber and Tesla. Jeff is a graduate of SUNY Oswego, 2007, bachelor's degree in public relations, concentration in marketing. Spent 8 years in broadcast television media sales. God bless you. That's how I started my career. Great boot camp. If you could do that, you could do anything in the world, right? Also got into sales management before starting Digital Hyve with his business partner, Jake Tanner. Jeff is also very engaged with the community. He sits on 7 board of directors, including Food Bank of Central New York, Loretto Foundation, Burn Dairy, United Way of Central New York, Center State CEO, Onondaga Community College Foundation, and SUNY Oswego Foundation. And like we said, Jeff lives in Skaneateles, New York, with his wife Hedda, and 2 children, Max and Lila. What a great bio. So excellent. And so Jeff, you're a young guy. You graduated 2007, and you made your bones in the media world by selling ads. We had actually met years ago. You remembered previously. I used to, I sold radio advertising when I graduated college for 3 years, and I always said, "Wow, it's the greatest job I ever hated." Loved the people. Radio was fun, but what a hard sell, right? Unless you had ratings. And I used to sell air. We'd sell airtime, right? At least with you were in TV, you could actually, see the ad. There's a little bit more there, but at the same time, very competitive, especially as the digital marketing world was taking over for you, right? And you were smart enough to say, "Hey, let me jump off, this ship and start something new here." So, yeah, tell us about the journey. Tell us about, what were you thinking? You probably had a nice, somewhat cushy job, making some pretty good money, benefits, security. But you decided that, that while that mountain was okay, you decided to enter the valley of craziness, to go climb a newer mountain, which I'm sure at that time you were like, I hope it's a bigger mountain, and it is. So I'd love to hear about the journey.
Yeah, brother. Well, I love that you say that it's a great place to. I kind of consider media sales. If you don't have your master's degree, it's a great place to go and get your earn your chops, right? Because when I graduated from SUNY Oswego, I had never heard of really sales in general, but certainly not media sales. But I thought it was really cool to work for a TV station. Got very fortunate, got a job, but I made $20,000 my first year, and I was given a phone book. I mean, that's a cliche, but it is true.
I'm with you.
I didn't have a list. They didn't give me accounts. I didn't make commission off of existing clients. I just was told, all right, go and sell. And for the first year, it was a grind. You don't know what you're doing. You have that imposter syndrome, right? But eventually I was fortunate enough to have some really good mentorship. I was surrounded by some really great people. I was selling a product that, Don Elhart, Norma Holland, and some of the best, Doug Embelich, some of the best newscasters in the country. So they made the job a lot easier because I had a good product to sell. And fast forward a few years, I became, the top salesperson at the TV station. But I'd always wanted more. I always wanted to get into management. I don't know why, David. I don't know why I was inviting trouble in my life, but I always have this kind of idea in my head that I was wanted to challenge, and that wasn't going to happen at Channel 13 for some time. The folks that were there, the sales management that was there, been there for a long time. They were young and probably weren't going anywhere for a while. So even though I was making good money, I made the jump. I took about a 40% pay cut to move to Syracuse from Rochester, and to take a sales management job. Did that for a few years. And as you said, I'm somebody that still very much believes in all forms of marketing and advertising. I think any form of advertising can work. Really, no brand spends money on advertising for fun. They don't say, oh gosh, they don't wake up and say, God, it'd be great to spend a couple $100,000 on advertising and get no return on that, right? They do it for a return on investment. So I think it's all based on if I hire a person to go out and stand on the side of the road and shake a sign and that, makes me a few bucks more than I paid the guy, well, that's a good return on investment. That was a good marketing decision. So it's all real based on that. I think all forms can work, but including television. But obviously I saw the writing on the wall. I saw the growth in digital marketing. I saw the measurability. I saw the tactical, Facebook and Google being the top two growing really quickly. And I wanted to get in that space. But David, I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur, man. And I want to take a pause and tell the quick story how you and I met. I was at a function with Norma Holland, who was a news anchor at the time on Channel 13. And we were at a luncheon and you stopped over and she introduced us quick. And you said, hey, Norma, I got something cool that I saw. And you drew a line and it said, you drew basically a right angle. And it was basically success over time. And then, most people think it's a straight line. And you said, nope, it looks more like this. And you drew a squiggly line, right?
For sure.
Ups and downs. And that, for some reason, that stuck with me for many, many years. I'm talking almost a decade. And then
wow.
when I reconnected, that really, that linked up with me. And I mentioned that story to you. So that really stuck with me, David. That
is so cool that you remember that. It really, I love that. You never know who you're going to impact, right?
It's true. And it really did. And so as I started to think about, my future at the time, I was 28 years old, I think. And I had a 3-month-old at home. My wife and I had just had our first child, which is the best time to quit your job and lose your benefits.
Jump in.
We had also just built a house, I think it was like 4 or 5 months earlier. So we had a brand new home, a kid. We didn't really know what we were doing, new parents. And I had met my business partner, Jake, my then, friend, a few years before. And I just said, I just see the opportunity. I see how digital marketing is growing. And, if I'm going to take a bet in my life, now's the time to do it. And so I quit my job as a sales manager at a television station, went off, started Digital Hyve with my business partner. And for the first year, we made no money. we made no money. I was living off savings for a good 12 months till we could really scale the thing. And that was kind of the journey, right? Like, and I hope people, I always try to really emphasize that, the struggles and the challenges in the front end, because any risk worth taking is gonna take some failures. It's gonna take some grit. It's gonna take some, sometimes the only way to move forward is to go 2 steps backward, right? And that's really what I did. And I knew that. I consciously knew that. I talked to my wife about it. She was incredibly supportive. I said, look, we're gonna be we're going to be eating ramen noodles for a good long time. We're not going to be eating out much. We're going to be, cutting back to only essentials. But if we can really stick this out, I think we have a shot here. And to her credit, she supported me 100%. I worked my ass off we were working 16-hour days most of that first year, and probably still do. And it was, it ended up being worth it. But you got to love the process. That's really what it comes down to. You got to love, you should have goals in mind, but at the end of the day, if you don't love the grind and you're not passionate about what you're doing, it makes a whole heck of a lot harder to work those 16-hour days and take that big jump and leap. So, but I do try to, again, going back to what you had said, there really are those peaks and valleys on the way throughout your journey. And I think that's also what makes it a little bit fun,
Well, there's definitely you gotta enter the valley to get to the mountain, right? And the valley is often scary and frightening and uneasy, but that's the way to the mountain, right? And I love how you just you had the baby, bought the house. Yeah, great time to start a business. And there's another phrase that says entrepreneurs they jump off the cliff and they build the airplane on the way down. And for you, that was 16-hour days, right? And you made it happen. So, but and also too, you said, you have to go backwards to eventually move forward. And it's so true. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs need to realize. Like, it's not overnight success. You might have a cushy job making 50 to 100 grand and benefits, but when you start, look at you, you're a very smart guy. You've got a beautiful business, but year one, you made squat. You just said that, right? So you went backwards. But there's a analogy I love that, the slingshot, right? In order to propel the rock forward, you have to pull it backwards first, right? So you have to go backwards to go forwards. And that's what you did. And just, not too long later, I mean, look where you are, right? And so I love it. There are a ton of digital marketing agencies, right? I mean, I'm starting to think like, every other millennial is a digital marketer and they're working out of their apartment. And then, then there's people that have offices like you and, 59-ish employees and, Inc. magazine top companies and everywhere in between. And I know you don't want to give away your secret sauce, but geez, how do you stand out from the sea of sameness? I mean, everybody can buy digital media. Everybody can, place stuff on social media and create images. Like, why, like I said, without giving away your secrets, your secret sauce here, what makes you guys special?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, David. And I think we have to, we've been talking before the podcast and you said it, not only is there are a lot of folks that do digital marketing, social media marketing, all these things, people living out of their parents' basement saying, oh, I'm a digital marketer. And they very well may be. That's the wild part, right? The internet is the equalizer. So, and that was us 6 years ago. That was us actually 6 years this month. It's our 6-year anniversary. And so, we think about that often because it's a new day every day in digital marketing. Things change. We wake up and the entire dashboard behind the Google platform is completely changed and we have to relearn it. Optimization changes, algorithms change. And so I think in that vein, that's what's allowed us to stand out and be different. When we started the company 6 years ago, my business partner and I, we had a real long discussion about exactly that, you know, and one thing, you know, there's a handful of things that I credit our success to. You know, first of all, you know, and when it started, it was just Jake and I. So to start there, I think the thing that we both saw is the beauty of partnerships and understanding that a great partnership is when two people complement each other. And there's no better partnership if in that vein than Jake and I, because Jake and I are very, very different people. He is he's a savant. He's an incredible learner. I've never seen anybody be able to, you know, absorb, synthesize information and be able to utilize that information better, quicker, faster, smarter than him. He's incredibly intelligent, but he's not a social person. He doesn't enjoy people, right? Like if he could be behind his desk doing, you know, stuff, video games, computer stuff, whatever, that's what he'd do all day long.
He's a mad scientist.
That's it. He's the mad scientist, right? And I'm probably the polar opposite. I couldn't be, you know, stuck behind a computer all day. I love people. I love interaction. I love learning people's stories and helping people solve problems, right? And so I'm the people guy. I'm the people leader, and he's the tech person. And so we really, really complement each other well. And I think that worked in our advantage because we complement each other's skill set. The second thing would be, early on in our business, we identified that not just digital marketing, but our whole lives are very much a progression. We're all on a journey, and we created a battle cry very early on that now if you ask any of our employees, any of the 50 plus folks that work at Digital Hyve, if you ask any of them, you know, what's our battle cry, they'll tell you better every day, and they'll tell you exactly why better every day matters to us. And it started with this manifesto. So David, I think you and I have talked about it a little bit, but I get about 3 hours of sleep a night. That's just, for my entire life, that's been the case. I don't need a lot of sleep. And so that's been a unique advantage. When I say I work 16-hour days, it typically is because from, you know, 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock when my kids are up and my wife is up, I spend time with them. And from 10 until 3 or 4 in the morning, I'm working, right? And so around, that's when I'm the most creative, and I come up with these crazy ideas that my staff probably sighs and says, oh gosh, another 3 o'clock in the morning email. But one of those emails was, I was talking about what better every day meant, because, you know, when we wake up in the morning, we get out of bed, we walk to the bathroom, we brush our teeth. At some point, you're going to take a different approach than you took the day before. At some point, you can't possibly recreate every step, every action that you did the day before. So by definition, you can't repeat. So you're either choosing to be better or you choose to be worse every single moment, every single day. Every single day you're having a moment to choose to make the decision, am I going to be better than I was the day before, or am I going to be worse? And so it's in those micro moments that we really make the huge changes in our life, right? Because you're not going to be better, you know, you're not going to be exponentially better tomorrow or in a month from now. But imagine if you make little tiny steps every day to be better, imagine how much better you are in 6 years. And that's really what has happened at Digital Hyve. It's the incremental, it's that iterative changes that we're always open. You're never, ever going to hear at Digital Hyve, we've always done it that way, so we're going to keep doing it that way. Because that's ridiculous. The best idea wins. I don't care whose idea it was. At Digital Hyve, if you got a great idea, we're going to say, great, let's start executing. Because that's how fast, not just digital marketing, not just technology, but society, that's how fast we move these days. So if you think about better every single day, it's not like I'm going to, you know, it's not like, oh, we're going to create a great business. And I'm thinking about it's in the day-to-day decisions. That's what can make that huge, huge exponential change. And then finally, the real differentiator, the thing that's really scaled us, David, is understanding, you know, I talked about partnerships and how important they are, and complementary skills, but understanding who to hire to fill in the gaps for Jake and I. Jake and I, when we first started the company, we knew nothing about HR. Neither one of us knew HR practices, New York State regulations, how to build a culture, how to hire the right. We didn't know any of that stuff, right? So our fourth hire was a woman named Sarah Mastrangelo. We hired a director of HR for 3 employees. And it was because we knew what our goals were. We knew exactly where we wanted to go. We knew that we wanted to be more than a 3-person, 5-person, 10-person company. And so we said, we need to lay the foundation in now. And so it's going to be an investment. And most of my friends that are in business said, that's a terrible idea. What are you doing? But we said, we need to make the investment now to lay in the foundation of creating great culture for great people that want it. Because if we get the A+ players here, that's going to be our differentiator. And that's what we've done. So we have hired the unbelievably best, most talented folks in the business, in the world. I'm so proud of our team, and that's really who's carried us to the goal line of where we are today, and who's going to carry us to our future goals is really our crew. The Digital Hyve crew is amazing, and Jake and I can take very little credit for where we are today, to be honest. And that's not even, that's not a fake humble brag. That is a legit. Digital Hyve employees have carried us all the way here, and Jake and I are very lucky to be on the ride. So that's really been the secret success. I have no problem telling people our secret formula. It's been, if you got talented minds at the table that are passionate, hardworking, and dedicated to the cause, good culture fit, happy, motivated, we're going to win.
Wow. If you have a microphone right now, drop it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah, and you're speaking. You're giving me goosebumps, because anybody that knows me knows I'm a big culture guy. So I love what you're talking about. People first, right? I mean, I wrote a book called "Make Love in the Workplace," and it was about workplace culture. Just so you know, that was about 5 years ago. I don't know if I could use that title today, but and I just love that your 4th employee was the HR director. How incredible, because you wanted to really kind of instigate that into the DNA of the company from the start. And that now that is your differentiator. And I know some of the people that work there, and everybody that I know that works there is an A+, not only talented person with their career, but just with their heart as a human in general. And so that makes a difference too. So no, kudos to you guys for doing that. And so what I'm wondering next is, and I already know the answer to this, but I want our wonderful Avanti family to know. So you may have heard me say the name of the company, Digital Hyve, but it's not HIVE, which would make sense, right? Like a beehive, you guys buzzing around making things happen. But it's not that. It's HYVE. And that's just not you being creative and funky and trying to mix it up a little bit. There's actually like a very good reason why you chose HYVE. So tell us about that.
Yeah, brother. Well, like all great things and how they start, HYVE was at first a way to earn some brownie points with the wife. I mentioned to you that, she was incredibly supportive as I was building the business and took the giant leap of faith. HYVE is actually Hyve, which in Finnish. And my wife actually grew up in Finland, in Tampere, Finland. We met while we were studying abroad in Nice, France. And I wanted to, put a Finnish word in there. I thought that would be a kind of cool nod to how great my wife was through the whole going off and starting a business thing. And so Hyve is actually Finnish for virtue. And virtue was such an important component and is an important component in the business, as one of the core facets that we really saw as Jake and I were building the business was, you nailed it. There are so many people that do digital marketing, everybody from media companies to one-person consultants to large traditional agencies to digital marketing agencies. Like, there's a ton of people that do digital marketing these days, right? And what we found is that, unfortunately, there's a big knowledge gap between what good digital marketing is and what not so good digital marketing is, right? And that's a very real thing, because the great part, the advantage that digital marketing has is that it's incredibly targeted, first of all. So you're only talking to the exact audience that you want to be talking to, because that's why Google and Facebook, they have these billions and millions of dollars, is because they know us better than we know ourselves sometimes. They run off of data. So if you can leverage the data to be able to talk to that very specific person, if your perfect audience is a female
female that's 35 and she lives in Pittsford and she has 2 cats and 2 kids and drives a Subaru, we can talk to just her. Now, there may be 5 people that are like her, but we're only going to talk and spend money to talk to those 5 rather than talk to everybody that happens to be driving by a billboard or whatever the thing is, right? So the targeting is incredibly important. The other piece is measurability. You can actually measure what's happening, right? And that was the hard part with TV or radio, like you said. It's like a lot of people, my cousin called me and saw the TV ad the other day or heard the radio commercial. And that's great, but what was the action that your cousin took or those potential customers took? Whereas you can say, all right, somebody saw a Facebook ad, they then went to the website, they then checked, put their stuff in their cart, but they didn't check out. So now we can retarget those people because they didn't check out, and we can remind them that, hey, you had this in your cart, so maybe you want to pick this up, right? Lots of different ways to then use that measurability and that data to hone in on your actual digital marketing so you know the result of your digital marketing and thus the return on investment. So the problem was people claimed digital marketing was what they were doing, but we saw so often that there were a lot of people that, were taking advantage of people because of that knowledge gap, business owners that are just, hey, I'm trying to run a business. I know I need social media. I don't know what it means. So here, you do it. So we always knew that we wanted to lead with virtue. We wanted to lead with saying, hey, look, we're going to do the right thing behind the curtain, in front of the curtain. And so in that vein, one of the things that I'm really proud of is we've built this business. We've grown over, in the first 5 years, we grew over 12,000%. And, that has all been done without ever putting a contract in front of any client of ours. We would never say, hey, you're handcuffed to us for, a year, 2 years, 3 months, 6 months, doesn't matter. If we're not doing our job, if you can't see a measurable return on investment, you can let us go at any time. We'll shake hands as friends and off we go. And we wouldn't have been able to have the success we have, if we, weren't doing our job. And that was really important to us. So that's where Hyve really came in, is being virtuous to our clients and also our people, right? You said people first. I'll tell you, our values are in numerical order is our crew, our people, our clients, and passion, integrity, and better every day, right? Those are our sequential order. The reason that our people, our crew comes first, people think we're crazy about that. They're like, especially clients will hear that and like, shouldn't I come first? I'm paying the bills. I'm keeping the lights on. That's true. But here's the thing. If I mistreat an employee, who's going to be there to take care of you? If I always give the example, if I have an employee, they have a kid at home and they're sick, and they have a big client meeting that they need to go to, and they're the only person that can do it, right? If I were to say, you know what, go take care of your kid after the client meeting, they're going to be resentful, they're going to be bitter, they may quit, right? And then we don't have somebody. Worse yet, they may stay and be totally disenfranchised and be a terrible employee. Not good for anybody. Now, if I take care of that person and tell them we'll take care of it and think about them first, then what are they going to do? They're going to be dedicated to the company, which means they're going to be super dedicated to our clients because you do keep the lights on, right? So I always try to remind people, like, if you develop really great people and you truly care for them, everything else will take care of itself. The business growth, client retention, everything else will be fine as long as you hire the best and the brightest and you truly, truly value them, not just as employees, but as people. And it seems like a simple concept, but I think there's a lot of companies missing the boat on it that need to wake up for it. So
I agree 1,000,000%. Just ask Wegmans, right? Who do they put first? And you're right. I mean, if you get it right with the core of the company, and the core is actually a Latin word for heart, right? So the core of the company is your people, then that ripples. That's how they will treat others, right? It's a ripple effect. I got into a big debate. I won't mention his name, but he was pretty famous podcaster, and I was a guest on his show, and we were going at it. He disagreed that the team was first, right? He goes, no, without customers, there's no revenue. I'm like, well, because if you had to choose, between having customers and your employees, what would you choose? And I said, I would choose my employees, my team. He goes, wrong. You got no revenue. I'm like, they help create the revenue. And then I convinced him a little bit because I said, here's how I think about it. We're farmers, right? So the business owner is a farmer, right? And the team, they're the seeds, right? And then if you water the team well, then they're going to grow beautiful plants for us. And the plants are the customers, right? But we're not going to get those beautiful plants without taking care of the great seeds first, right? And I kind of stumped him. He didn't have a good comeback. So I in my mind, I said I won, so.
That's great. And look, at the jury's out. I mean, I think that there's been a long progression towards employee first mentality. If you read Peter Drucker and a lot of the folks that have thought about modern business, we are in the day and age of learning about how people truly make the difference. And like I said, it's the proof is in the pudding. We could not have, if it was still Jake and I, we would not have grown 12,000%. We would be stuck in year one trying to make it all work and hair on fire and going crazy. And, our employees inspire us. They teach us, they motivate us, and we feel privileged every day that we've built this team. And you said it best. It's not just they're hard workers or they're smart workers. It's not that. It's also that they're good people. They're good at the core. And like you said, a number of folks that work at DH. I can't tell you how many times, small example, but always sticks with me. Every time somebody comes to visit our office space, they are asked at least 3, 4, 5 times, hey, how you doing? Do you want water? Is there anything I can get you? Now, we don't have a receptionist. These are all just people passing by saying, are you good? Do you need anything? We've never once instructed our employees to do that. Never one time.
Yeah.
It's just because they care about other human beings. And I try to remind our team that, that's the number one thing that we can do, guys, is just be good people, have integrity, do the right thing. And then the rest just works out. It just does.
Yeah. Jeff, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing your secret sauce. And I think I'm assuming that you're like, steal it. Let other companies, please. Let's, anybody could do. I mean, it's kind of like Dell knows what Apple does, but they're not able to do it, right? So it's like, it's out there, right? But I appreciate you sharing the love and your time today and your journey and all your heartbeats today. Really, really appreciate. I think you're such an incredible asset to upstate New York. You're doing incredible, great things. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where you're going to go from here. I mean, let's beat 12,000% next year, right?
That's it, brother. That's it, man. I appreciate you having me. You certainly, I feel the same amount of respect and gratitude that you're in our community. You do so much for our business community and are certainly out there spreading the good word. So very much appreciate the conversation.
Thank you, Jeff. Hey, if our Avanti family wants to get in touch with you, learn more about you, what are the best ways to reach out?
Yeah, man. All the normal stuff, digitalhyve.com, Hyve with a Y, and all the social channels, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm pretty open with my stuff and out there. So if anybody ever wants to connect, I'm happy to chat with them.
Very good. And they might get an answer at 2 a.m, but they will get an answer.
They will definitely get it. I only do social very, very late at night. So, yep.
Yeah, that's great. No, I'm the same thing as you with 3 hours of sleep a night. I just need 5 more than that.
Got it. Okay, that's a good strategy. I might actually. It's getting a little old as I get older.
Love my sleep, but that's getting harder as I get older. But anyway, Jeff, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I wish you continued massive success. I also want to thank our Avanti family for listening and or watching. Truly appreciate you. If you ever want to hear this interview again, plus the almost 200 more that we've done, they're all at AvantiEntrepreneur.com. AvantiEntrepreneur.com. You can check out we've got some incredible episodes. I've been doing this every week since October of 2016. It's the favorite thing I do. So thank you for sharing your time with me. Jeff, thanks again. Hope to see you soon. Thank you, Avanti family. Keep on listening and make sure to have a great day and stay awesome.